in southern Colorado. It's for sale. And in this video, I'm going to show you the top things that will help you decide whether this property is a good fit for you based on my experience selling over 700 parcels of land. And just FYI, I'm still recovering from a cold, so if my voice is a little gravelly, please ignore that. All right, so let's start with location. Okay, so this property is located in southern Colorado. It is close to the town of Alamosa. It's in this valley that's in between two mountain ranges, so you do get mountain views here. The surrounding area does actually have a fair amount of agriculture in the nearby vicinity. But this is a rural property. This particular area has a strong off-grid community. People come here because they don't want a lot of neighbors, they don't want a lot of regulations, and they want to be self-sufficient and try to make that off-grid self-sufficient lifestyle work. All right, so let's take a look at what this property looks like. So you can see we are in the valley. It's pretty flat at this point. The vegetation is kind of desert shrub, light vegetation. You can see the mountain views here. There are a couple homes, I shouldn't say a number because this is still fairly undeveloped, but there are homes in this area, mainly off-grid as I was mentioning. And the property does have access via a dirt road that is in good condition, as you can see from the images here. So again, this property is for someone who is looking for a rural property where you get substantial acreage, few neighbors, not many regulations, and where you have the opportunity to be close to mountains, nature, and potentially be more self-sufficient. It is not, of course, for someone looking for a suburban lot where you're right near a major employment center, right near basic, stores, restaurants, all of that, and where you would have access to public utilities. Oh, but actually here you can see the really nice mountain view that you get in this area. Okay. All right, so that wraps up the drone footage, which brings us to the next major question that many people might have when buying land. Next obvious question, I should say, and that is, what can you actually do with the property? So as I said, this is a rural property, which means that you're not going to have as many regulations as you would in more built-up areas. So I'll start by saying there is no HOA here, so no additional layer of private regulations in this area. The zoning is estate residential. So if we pull up the land use code, here's estate residential. So this area, A stands for allowable, is for residential properties, as the name would suggest. So you are allowed accessory buildings when you construct a home, including an accessory dwelling. And the nice thing, this always makes me laugh, but I love Costilla County because they actually call out earthships in their zoning designation. And those are allowed in estate residential. Also, or perhaps maybe even most importantly, they do allow mobile homes as well, which I know is very important because many areas are starting to regulate that. For many people, that is the most affordable way to put a home on a property. So this is a residential lot. It's for someone looking for either recreational purposes or to build a home. It's not for heavy agriculture per se, but most likely you would be able to, they do allow livestock, and that's the main thing, they do allow livestock. If you were doing some homesteading, sure, you'd be able to raise crops to feed yourself as well. But as with all things relating to building and zoning, I do always recommend that you contact the county to confirm their rules and regulations. Now, in terms of utilities, as I was alluding to earlier, this would be an off-grid lot. Most likely all utilities would be off-grid, as the name would suggest. So well, septic, solar. Okay. And Now, so as I was saying, you could do residential, homesteading, recreational, and of course you could also hold this property as an investment property, as a affordable investment that you hold for the long term, perhaps to pass on to children and grandchildren. And it is fairly easy to do that because the annual taxes are only $76, so very little holding costs on a property like this. Okay, now I do want to cover a few other items that are important to understand when you're thinking about a property, especially if you do want to build. So I'm pulling the property up in our due diligence software. And I'll start by showing the contour lines. Now, as we saw from the drone footage, this is a very flat lot. Good for building, of course. And it is not in a special hazard flood zone. So that's important because that does mean that you don't have additional layers of flood insurance or requirements to elevate the property. It is also not in a wetlands, so that's also important because wetlands can prevent construction almost altogether. And finally, question of water, which is probably one of the biggest concerns in an area like this. We can check if there are wells in the area. So if we zoom out, you can see that there are actually a number of wells that have been drilled out here. I can't say what their depth is, but we do see that people are able to access water in this area. Although, given the climate, I would imagine that you should expect to budget for a fairly deep well in this area. The other thing that I like to pull up is the soil map, just to check if any of the parcels that have the same soil type have been built on, and that's just as an initial check to see if I think that there is a likelihood that the property will pass a perk test. That's actually not a big concern I have in these more arid climates, but I still like to check for it. So in this case, it's a little tricky because there aren't too many homes in the area altogether, but we do see a couple homes nearby, generally a good sign for building. Let's look up here. I think there are some homes of the same soil type up here. I think this is a home. So again, this particular test is a little tricky because there aren't actually too many homes in this nearby area. It does look like there's one home on the same soil type, but this is also this kind of desert soil type is one where I am not as concerned about the perk test as in other areas that we work in. Right. So that covers some of the basic due diligence items. I think we covered most of the important ones. We can quickly look at the overview again. So that would bring us to price. But before we go there, I do want to quickly introduce myself. My name is Erica. I am actually the co-founder of Gokche Capital, and we are a company that has been in business for 7 years. Our mission is to help people across the country become landowners and build their own version of the American dream. We have helped over 700 people. We are now over 700 people buy land at this point. And you can find all of our properties at land.gocap.com. Now, I will note that we are not real estate agents, so we only sell properties that we own. That means you work directly with the owner when you're buying from us, and we do also offer owner financing on all of our properties, including this one. So you can see that we do work throughout the U.S. So if this particular lot doesn't work for you, you could check out some of our other properties in other parts of the U.S. We do also have a number of other properties in this area, so you can check those out too if you're interested in Costilla County. But today we're looking at number 402 on our listing site. It's the property on Lincoln Road in Costilla County. Quick note, this is our internal numbering system. So don't expect to see this number on the deed. If you did want to research the property with the county, you could use the assessor's parcel number. But to find the property on our website, you would look for number 402. Okay, so the price of this property is $8,997 plus the $595 doc fee. And that doc fee covers all administrative costs involved with recording the deed. So there are no additional costs for you. But we do also offer owner financing. I'm going to take a quick drink, sorry. But you will see that there are not set owner financing terms. And that is on purpose because we do tailor our owner financing terms to meet the needs of each individual buyer. So if you are interested in owner financing, you can always reach out to us and let us know what kind of down payment and monthly payment you think will work with your budget, and we'll come up with terms that do make the property affordable for you. But I do want to be upfront about two things. So the first is the higher the down payment, the lower the interest rate. The second is we do say there's no building on or living on the property until the end of the loan term. And that's for liability reasons, but you can use the property for recreational purposes, and you can make minor improvements as long as you're in compliance with all local rules and regulations. And by minor improvements, I generally mean something that doesn't require a permit, like fencing, clearing, grading. And actually, I mentioned recreational purposes. I realized I forgot to note that another nice thing about Costilla County is they do allow RVs, not permanently, but you can camp for 14 days every 3 months or apply for a permit if you want a longer stay. So camping would be allowed under owner financing. The other thing I'll note is there's no prepayment penalty, so you can always pay off early and save on interest. And in fact, if you pay off early enough, we will give you cash back. So if you pay off in 6 months, you'll get 5% cash back. I also do want to note that if you're like many of the other buyers I've talked to in the past who is a little concerned about buying land because it's new to you and there seems to be a lot more that you need to look into before purchasing a property, unlike, say, buying a home, we did create a 365-day land exchange guarantee to solve for that concern. So basically, within the first year of financing a property, you are able to exchange it one time for any other property in our inventory. You do have to pay another doc fee, but all you have to do is come to us, let us know, and we'll move everything over to the new property, including all previous principal payments. So that way you know that you will always be able to get a property that actually works for you. The other thing I'll note is that based on feedback from many previous clients, we did create a landowner success bundle that's free with every purchase. And it's a set of 9 bonuses designed to help you get the most from your land. And these bonuses do include exclusive discounts with mobile home dealers, monthly landowner Q&A calls, a complimentary vacation voucher, a hotel savings card, a free 30-minute architectural consultation, because I do have a background in architecture, a homesteading guide, building and zoning guide, post-closing checklist, and neighbor lookup tutorial. So all of those do come free with every purchase. You would get it. You get the whole package when the deed's recorded. So that's either upfront with cash or at the end of the loan term with owner financing. And if you are interested in this property, there are 2 steps that I would recommend taking next to move forward with the process. So the first would be to hold the property. And I say this because in the past, before we had this hold feature, we would have buyers go take a few days to go visit the property or call the county and then get back to us and find that the property was sold. So we created this hold to make sure that doesn't happen, that you can take the property off market while you do your research, visit the property, or get funds together. It's $50 for 2 days, and you can hold for up to 8 days. As I said, the hold will take the property off market while you get everything in order, and the hold fee would be applied toward the purchase price. It would actually be applied to the purchase price regardless of what property you purchase, as long as you buy within 90 days. So that's step 1, hold the property. There's an automated checkout process. Just click buy or hold on our listing page and then click hold. The next step would be to give me a call. to go over your questions, further next steps, or talk about owner financing terms if you did want to do owner financing. And you can book a call at call.gocap.com. That's call.gokcap.com. All right, so that's it. 2 steps to start the process. Hold the property and book a call with me. And if you did want to see all of our properties, you could go to land.gocap.com. The other thing I note is if you are just starting your land search, you can also go to my calendar and book a free land strategy call, which is a quick 15-minute call. We can go over what you're hoping to accomplish by buying land and some of the top things I would recommend that you look out for as you're doing your land search to make sure you get a property that really works for you. So again, you can book that call at call.gocap.com or call.gokcap.com. I also do free property reviews. So if you're looking at a couple different properties and you'd like a free second opinion on any of them, you can join any of my live streams. I am live daily at 7 p.m. Eastern. Join and leave your property in the chat, and I will review it for you after I finish going over the property of the day. The last thing I do want to mention is we do have a free land giveaway as well. We run it twice a year. It's just a fun promotion to get the word out about our company. If you would be interested in being in the running for a free property, we'll be giving away the lowest value property in our inventory on July 4th. And you can go to our YouTube homepage, which is Gokche Capital, and go down to free land giveaway promotion to watch a quick 1-minute video on how to participate. So that's it for today. Again, you can find all of our properties, including this one, at land.gocap.com. And we were looking at number 402, the property on Lincoln Road in Costilla County.